Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show. The show that feels good to hear. A lot of qualifications on that. So, Adam Bennett, the regular director of the show, worked on the Dell Talk Show, longtime collaborator. We talk about all the creative decisions, we usually talk about it. He's been on me for a long time. He's like, hey, you gotta set up a Patreon for There's a Place, which is like an online thing where you give money and it just supports things like a patron. You get it. I'm not up on all the modern things, so it took me a while to research it, and I was like, well, I don't know, I'm always, asking everybody for something. Is this the right avenue, whatever? So I researched it some more, and then I started thinking, sent me a link to somebody talking about it. But the link was broken, and then I went to go search for the show, and I was like, well, instead of searching for this guy talking about it, I can just do this and set it up. Like, I trust this guy, whatever. We should just do it. So, I was looking at the Patreon. I went as far as getting to the website, and then you gotta like offer perks and stuff like that. But I was like, well, maybe I can get this done today, and then that'll be the monologue for this week. I could talk about it, about how you should give money to There's a Place or whatever. And lo and behold, this evening, as I'm getting ready for the show, dronebox.com, the very network we're on, has set up a Patreon of their own, and just do that. It all worked out. See, I was all worried about this, getting this work done, thinking of the perks. They have it all thought out. So we're gonna start putting a link, we'll do the past episodes too, put a link in the bottom, and throw a couple bucks a month. Dronebox's way, there's perks or whatever, but honestly, we're getting to the point with media where, Netflix, that's $10 here, Hulu, that's $10 there, whatever. It's all gonna add up. Why not knock out one of those big guys who has a lot of subscribers and just go for a little guy at a discounted rate, $5, $10 instead of $15, $20, whatever. And then it'll keep things weird, as they say. It'll keep things moving and have weird stuff. So if you got a couple bucks, and I know you do, economy's doing better than it was when we started the show, actually. So throw a couple bucks to Dronebox on Patreon, please. Folks, my guest tonight is a musician, writer, hanging around. It's been around Dronebox a lot. If you are a regular viewer of this network, if you are a Patreon yourself, you've probably seen him, but I have a more complex introduction, but I'll bring him on for that because I want to kind of get the reaction to the introduction. But please welcome Elk Ring.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, Elk?
How are you? Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, I hope you didn't, because you're usually around here on Dronebox Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And I hope you didn't feel offended that I haven't asked you on yet.
No,
but I've kind of had you.
Too long, I think. I live in the neighborhood.
I see. I knew that, and I knew that, like, hey, if I don't have somebody, and there's only a couple days' notice, Elk, I've been saving you as somebody who could definitely come through. Yeah. So the pressure's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what would you like to start with?
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, you don't either. Okay. Am I talking to them, by the way?
No.
I'm all right, good.
Good.
I don't know. Wow. I guess we're both, yeah. Well, I'm a local. I'll introduce myself. I've been throughout Los Angeles in the past couple years performing because I felt the need to do that at one point about 3 years ago. And so I started playing the streets of Los Angeles, which are not, I don't think, that friendly to busking.
Ooh, you tried to break into busking in Los Angeles?
Well,
that's tough.
Is it?
It's a tough busking market. Because in LA, you've got people who are like the rejects of regular show business.
Right.
It's like the busking
Not
talent
really.
here.
I think I was coming really from like the bottom up more than
Right.
any.
So
I was
you
coming
tried,
from
but
some angle that was.
but you're competing with buskers who have been doing this for years, where people are used to mainstream talent. You know what I mean? It seems like
What
it's
is
a tough.
mainstream talent? Like somebody playing a country tune, or?
I mean, somebody who's been on like the X Factor or something would go
Oh.
back to busking. You know what I mean?
I did meet somebody who worked with Larry David
Yeah.
when I was playing on the street, and she invited me up to her room, but it seemed really like sketchy. I thought the vibes are really sketchy. I didn't know if I'd make it out, of a hotel room. But she invited me to collab, and it was a lot more comfortable than playing where I was on the street at the time. So.
Yeah. What's the busking scene like for a newcomer?
Well, it was surreal for me because I just would, love to take any gifts that came my way. Like, one time I got a bottle of sake, and that would really, I found the alcohol more than anything would fuel me and, sustain my inspiration for like maybe close to 2 hours. Yeah, and so it was kind of a surreal atmosphere. I was certainly floating like about 2 inches above ground most of the time. But it was fun. I mean, I had some pretty wild times that were, like one time I had like, I don't know, all of a sudden 5 guys that looked like hillbillies or some kind of country bear jamboree or something. With one guy had a guitar and he was hanging off. It was just nobody. The cops didn't do anything at that point. But I think now, that it's gotten a lot more militarized and less tolerant. Somehow it seemed after Garcetti got in, it even got more stringent on the police and the clampdown and
They want the permit.
Well, there is no permit for playing downstairs in Metro. You're taking your chances because in New York you can play below.
In New York, it's a whole thing.
But the Metro, you have to stay away from the Metro. They've outlawed busking completely. Yeah, in LA. You could check it out. I mean, last
I
time
believe
was
you.
there. Okay, thanks.
But that was only 3 years ago. You said that you came out here and started doing that.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I had always been, before that I was in an area that was kind of a dusky backwater, I guess you could call it. I mean, it's not like, it's far away from the metropolitan grid, and it's...
Where?
It's West Covina, actually. The border
Covina.
right there. Glendora, Irwindale,
Yeah.
Azusa.
Yeah,
that
the
whole-
canyon cities.
Yeah,
That's what they call them, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it
Not
was
a good
kind of
place
nice.
for busking. It's a
If
nice
it
place.
was,
But
I made the best of it with like, maybe Valium and a mango smoothie and classical music at night with my windows down, and that was kind of a scene for me for a while there. But and then I got a little isolated because I was just in the backyard with the raccoons, so I went to to get in my car and go wherever I could. It was usually some dispensary, and then the travel plus the quality of the marijuana that I was smoking would give me a certain flavor of a trip, and depending on what artist I was looking at, it could really give that evening a certain flavor, or that period of just a couple days or something. That one had to do with a trip on ayahuasca. I never did ayahuasca, but anyway, but that was like, I remember some excursions just to play a gig would usually involve walking around town, a place, getting a sense of that town, and then, driving back, and then still having a part of that town that was a part of your, something that spoke to you, as a artistic inspiration somehow. Yeah.
I think that's called hyperlocal. When these
Yeah.
local
guess so.
things that it gets embedded into your personality just by seeing them all the time. These like suburban things, these bland things.
What do you? I'm not sure what you mean
Well,
exactly.
like you talk about going around West Covina or whatever. You see, the same donut shop over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, you see the same intersections, and then, you know, just you'll be stopped at the stoplight at the same intersection week after week, day after day. And then, you know, one night some drunk driver will plow into it and a light pole will go over, and you're there the next day and you're like, oh, something's finally changed about this. And it's something that's so familiar. It's like a part of your life every day. It doesn't really register.
Right.
But it gets deep down in there, and it takes like a change like that. And then it ends up affecting like your work and your life and your personality and stuff.
Yeah, it infects you.
It's like it's an impressive kind of thing, a little bit.
Well, it leaves an impression, is what you mean.
Yeah.
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 So you from Southern California?
Yeah. Some people think I look like I'm from Chicago or something.
Yeah, because Elk, you're one of these people who, you know, you go to the open mics, you go to drum box or whatever, and you see people around, and you talk to them, and you make, you know, conversation or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, the one-on-one hangout is rare, you know, just because there's so many people around.
Right.
And I mean, and so I was excited to have you on. As like, what is up with Elk? Like, who is Elk? Where did Elk come from?
Okay.
How'd you get the name Elk? I'm always curious in stage names.
Well, I started out with just some trippy thing about aesthetics, or I don't know. I started with melting rubies or something, like an image.
Ooh, I like
was
melting rubies.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hot, it melts.
Yeah, it was so.
And they're red and they're dripping. Like.
Yeah, and they're also pristine, and you know, it's like, you know, it's like germ free. And at the time, I was around Skid Row, and it was like the farthest thing I could think of from Skid Row was like melty rubies. You know, I think the distance from where I was had some reason that I wanted to. It exaggerated the other side of it somehow. But so I went to diamond. You know, I was thinking 14 karat diamond, and so I went to 13 karat Elk Ring instead, and I thought, you know, I had some other name. It was like, I don't know what it, but I thought,
what is an Elk Ring?
It's just something that is odd, and I thought I liked it because I thought that's, you know, it had something distinctive about just the elk. Like, there's an elk on a Jägermeister. There were elks, like when I was driving up the canyon one time when I had my Camaro, and there were these two elk, they were deer probably, that jumped in front, and they were just jumping like that. They jumped right over, you know, and I was just driving up a hill with the sun, and it was like, or I saw them right there in front of me. But yeah, it's a common thing they do. But
elks are
what else? There's some other elk connotations.
Isn't the Elks Lodge the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks? You know, fraternal organization. It's like Moose Lodge, like.
Yeah, there was this guy that used to call me Elks Lodge all the time. You know, give me a fist bump.
I was an elk. I joined the Elks Lodge one year.
Oh wow!
It's $60.
Is that kind of like the Masons, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like an old building with like a bar with cheap drinks, but you have to pay the membership, so it evens out. And then like weird food and weird old people who are like very mainstream. There's like nothing occult going on there at all. It's all like very bland, normie old people. But the elk is an animal that seems to inspire interpretation, or I don't know. They named their whole
it has
after
a mystic quality, whatever, a pristine, or fjords, or you know, running through some kind of mystic enchanted valley, maybe grace, covering a lot of ground. It has a lot of connotations to it or something, but it's mostly just something that was unique and odd that I liked essentially about it. And I thought 13 karat Elk Ring, well, yeah, that's even funkier. That's great. So, but yeah, I took 13 karat off because I lived in Boyle Heights, and I thought I might piss somebody off because the dispensary I was going to was pretty weird looking on the inside and stuff. Yeah.
They didn't like the number 13.
Well, you know, it has to do with the whole Mexican mafia thing. You know, the 13. You know, it's the 13th letter of the alphabet, and anyway, it's a whole deal. 13. There's 13. You know, there's gangs, right? The 13. That's what it means.
Mhm.
And like, okay, well,
Why not
I just
14
didn't-
karat? Isn't that the highest amount of carats?
because it's not a diamond ring, and if it's going to be, you know, something different in quality, it might as well be 1 degree off. You know.
Okay, so you actually had a thought out answer for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, I didn't. No, I mean I didn't,
But-
you know, prepare that too tightly for this. But I just that's kind of the reason that I had it. I'm just trying to get at what the.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So I noticed when you play, you got a Stratocaster guitar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be getting a Stratocaster pretty soon.
Oh wow. It's a great instrument. I mean, it's like electrically produced sound, you know, which is
Better than a Les Paul though? Because I'm at the point, I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I want like a nice guitar.
Yeah.
And the Strat I'm getting is good, that I feel like, you know, you get a Les Paul for like $1,500, it's like a really nice, you know, you can like save up and get like a really like, I don't know, I guess what I'm saying,
Well, it
sell
depends
me
what
on the
kind of sound you want to
Stratocaster.
get, obviously, like Thin Lizzy was like both like duo Les Pauls, you know, and that really
It's so,
rockin'
it's so much
70s,
more
like-
rockin'
Yeah.
and beefier.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it has
this-
a crunch to it. It's like, yeah, it's just got a signature sound.
Someday. But the
Yeah,
Stratocaster,
yeah, it's
you got Eric
it's beautiful.
Clapton, you got Jimi Hendrix,
David Gilmour, Pink Floyd.
uh-huh,
Yeah.
Buddy Holly,
Oh, Buddy Holly.
he played a Stratocaster. But that's because that was like the only guitar
I really
available.
like the Telly myself. I think the Telly has,
I had one before, I liked it a little,
Yeah.
but that's for like,
It's more like a lute than a guitar.
yeah, I don't know, it's like, I feel like you also got to be like a lead singer to play a Telecaster or something. It doesn't hold its own.
Okay.
And then like a Jaguar or a Jazzmaster, those are the worst guitars.
I tried one. I never liked it. I mean,
They're for guys with hairdos.
that's you,
You know what
you
I'm
just
talking
got
about?
to the chase. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's funny.
I did see
It's
a
good.
band one time though that had 2 guitar players. One played a Jaguar, one played a Jazzmaster. You never see both in one band.
Really? I mean, what band was that? What other
Oh, it was just
instruments
some-
did they have?
It was just, you know, a
Besides-
Fender bass and drums.
Oh, okay.
But the two different unique Fenders.
Just to be the 2 different unique
Yeah,
Fenders
uh-huh.
for no other reason.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
oh.
But the Strat, you like playing it?
Well, yeah. I love. No, the Strat's a great instrument because it's very good for sustain, and it usually has. It's just a longer neck usually than a Telecaster, so it's just more of a I don't, you know, physically rocking experience. No, I mean, it's just leverage-wise, it's a bigger neck and stuff, and heavier, and there's more of a, I don't know.
Have you had a lot of different guitars over your career?
I had a couple Stratocasters. Stratocaster's a great one. If I had, you know, I would like, well, I always thought of Gretsch because I saw this.
The big one, the old like.
I really like the sound of the
50s
guilds. A lot
one.
of guilds that I see. I've heard some that are really warm and distinct sound. But I think probably, yeah, maybe. I think I could work with a Gretsch really well, but they're like 1,200.
Yeah.
I just can't, you know.
Wouldn't that be
save-
cool to have a guitar that costs as much as like a really bad used car? You'd probably
it's a
use
good
it
way to
just as
think of
much.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to think about. You know, that's how you put your goals in order. Is
Yeah.
like, you know, hey, that's somewhat achievable if I think of it that way. You know, yeah, a used car and a
Yeah.
really good Gretsch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a awful car, really bad, gonna cost you money, break down all the time.
Yeah.
Or like a really nice guitar.
Yeah, exactly. I've had to make that choice before, you know. I mean, it's like, what am I going to keep? What's important to me? Yeah. But
Car's probably more useful.
more useful, but it also puts you more in the habit of what you're tied down with, you know. So, and then it gets you away from the guitar. Is just hanging out, having the time to experiment and do something that is spontaneous and related to what's going on in the moment. And so you have to have time and space to do that, and you have to work that in your routine somehow. So, but I don't know, where was I going with that? I think is that a parking lot? Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
this
in a
is well, hey, as a Southlander, I can tell you, this is Hollywood Park racetrack in Inglewood.
Oh,
No
cool.
longer there. This is going to become the football stadium.
Wow.
But
yeah.
this is when they were demolishing it. But it's no longer there. So we've actually traveled back in time. Did you ever do that before?
Yeah, I've gone. I mean, to nostalgia is I'm always traveling back in time. Is what I meant about that. But
Sure.
like good places that, well, you know. I mean, we always go. That's how we operate. Is what we know, you know. So, or what we think we know. So, yeah.
So what's nostalgic for you? What causes you to time travel?
Cheech and Chong, maybe, you know, Up in Smoke, or just that whole era of maybe.
That was a
I
formative
saw Up
time.
in Smoke, and I noticed how lush the cinematography was on that, and how young, you know, Cheech and Chong were. But in those days there was just less. The economy was better, relatively, still, from the 50s. You know, and it was just, there was more surplus around and less stress, and more freedom, I think.
There was more freedom in the 70s.
Yeah, because I think the system, you didn't have everything digitized. And
You could get away with lying.
yeah,
You know, you just make.
you didn't have cameras everywhere.
Yeah, you
could
just
do
change your
something.
name, change your. You didn't need papers and the
Yeah.
internet to do stuff.
Right. Yeah, it was a whole different infrastructure and, you know, society.
But yeah, it was like the tail end of that. Of being able to just like, you know, be able to cover your tracks.
Right. The tail end, like 78.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Going into the Reagan era.
Yeah, and then that's when things really got bad. I wasn't alive. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the Reagan
Well,
era.
what was
but
the distinctive thing for you of the Reagan era that signified it got
I wasn't alive in the Reagan era, but this is what I know about the Reagan era. Punks hate Ronald Reagan.
Right.
They hate him.
I remember that.
They've
Wasted Youth.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Reagan Youth. There's so many groups like that.
Right.
TSOL. Do you remember them? Orange County group.
Oh, yeah.
They have a song that's like, President Reagan can shove it. And so that's my main. I have that, and then that he liked jelly beans. Nothing wrong with jelly beans.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I know that about him. Because actually, my dad worked for the phone company, and he met him one time, whatever, in some kind of PR capacity. He said he had his jelly bean jar there on his desk.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, when he was
That's-
governor or something.
That
Yeah, he really
one
did.
detail makes me think that he's like not a good leader. You always have to have these jelly beans around. What
Right.
person
and his,
do you
and
know?
His wife was, remember she had that card reader. She went to a soothsayer or
Yeah.
she was getting advice
Yeah.
from
And then the war on
I don't know,
drugs they
some
did.
clairvoyant is what
Yeah.
you call them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just like Hollywood people. Like
they
people
were,
from the
yeah,
West
yeah.
Side.
I think Reagan was kind of cool in that way.
That he's like a Hollywood person. He's like an actor.
He was a little more, cosmopolitan and worldly than some of these guys from like the Midwest or rock-ribbed Republican New York or something. So,
anyway. People will dismiss that quality in like a politician or a leader or whatever. It's like, oh, they're like an actor type, but a lot of people like that. I like that
it's a professionalism.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on the spot. It's very, you get things managed at a very, he was, he had a certain level of capacity or competence, by being a professional that you could feel more than somebody that was just supposed to be respectable because they're, some staid conservative or something.
Yeah, those losers couldn't be in a movie. They couldn't act with a monkey.
Right. No.
But time for Bonzo. Movie with the monkey.
No, exactly. He started out as a PR guy too. I know something about that. Yeah, for the Cubs, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Reagan. I think that's how he got here. He was like
But punks hate him.
Yeah, I didn't really get in. So I wasn't that radical as a kid. I liked skateboards. I kind of liked surfing and, maybe psychedelic. Oh.
Speaking of psychedelics, we're shrinking. That's cool. This place is no longer there.
Huh?
No longer there. This parking lot? All
Yeah,
gone.
yeah. That looked like, it must have been, I don't know, it looks like a fairly, where was this again?
Hollywood Park Racetrack in Inglewood. You ever go down there?
No, I never have.
No, you never will.
Very good. Yeah.
Something I read on your Instagram, I was kind of lurking you a little bit for doing research for this show. You put poetry on there or whatever, like your songs or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was this one from a long time ago, and it just said, "Shrimp is real." Do you remember writing that? I get it, but can you elaborate on it, please? Shrimp is real.
Yeah. I was basically, I don't think it wasn't that long ago, actually. I was thought maybe you were talking years. Yeah, because it was...
Do you have other posts about shrimp?
I just like, I usually like to make some title that, is a headliner. And shrimp is real is because I was cooking some shrimp in a pan, that I got from the grocery store. And, it was just the raw way I was eating it, But I liked it because you can suck it and you can suck the body out of the nib of the tail. And it's usually with shrimp, you never have the alimentary canal in there like crawfish or something like that.
What's that? Alimentary canal? What is that?
It's the digestive path. It's the channel.
The guts.
Of refuse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the guts. Right. You do have that sometimes in
the shrimp, the vein.
Well, I don't know.
That's the poop.
The poop. Yeah.
That's what makes it taste good. You don't think so? The poop is the main ingredient. Like chitlins.
Maybe.
You ever have chitlins?
I didn't see any. That's what I liked about the shrimp. But I thought shrimp was distinct from crayfish because it didn't have...
Oh, crawfish is the whole thing. Those are gross.
Exactly. They're just the texture is gross and the whole consistency and the digestive system is a lot thicker. It's gross. But shrimp it just seemed to be clean to that. And I liked the fact it was, you could just suck it out of the tail like that. I thought, wow, you could just... That's pretty real because it's really a graphic way of ingesting another creature.
Almost all of it. Just the tail.
Just the nib of the tail. It's too crunchy. I mean, I guess you could do it if...
I eat the tail. I like the crunch. Yeah.
That's awesome. I might try it.
The head, you ever have a shrimp head?
I have eaten heads before.
You take the head off and then you get the brains. The brains of the shrimp.
And what do you like in particular about the brain?
It's one of those things where I don't think it tastes good, but the idea of like, ooh, this is a delicacy.
Yeah.
Like you ever have like
Right.
you go to some weird ethnic restaurant and they're like, oh, this is the intestines, this is the eyeballs or whatever. Yeah, right. And you're like, this is okay, but it's also like, I could see why this isn't really popular. Like it doesn't taste great.
Yeah.
Shrimp though.
Shrimp, yeah. I mean,
Shrimp is real.
Yeah, you know what I mean? After explaining that? I mean, maybe it wasn't as profound as the implication.
Just reading "shrimp is real" spoke to me. Like I got it.
Yeah, it's the experience.
It's poetry.
Yeah, it's just that relating the experience of the appreciation of what you're doing. Okay. I don't want to beat a dead horse. So,
You ever eaten horse before?
no, but I wouldn't mind trying it. 'Cause
Yeah.
It sounds like it's really fresh. If it is fresh, it's not frozen.
It's kind of
have you
forbidden.
recently?
No,
Oh.
not horse to my knowledge.
Mm.
I would like to eat a monkey, and I would love to eat human flesh.
Oh, why in particular? Because
So
you think
rare.
it might become a habit or something? Or
It's
it
just
might be
so
insatiable. and
Yeah, you don't
Really?
know. Would you eat human flesh?
something.
Like, what would it take
I just ate.
if
For
it
the
was
first
served
time
to you?
I ate in Boyle Heights, I ate hominy with tripe, and that was weird for me. But I've been, looking for a deal on food around here, and those cans of hominy, like some meat in it, those are pretty solid. Those will last with you. That's like a main course.
What is
It's for under
hominy?
$5. It's corn. Yeah, like grits.
Yeah,
Yeah, hominy, grits.
I've seen it at the store.
Yeah, you usually bypass it in a can, except when you're really kind of like looking for something that's going to nourish you like you never have before. You start to notice these things. Like that can, it's under $5. I forgot the title name of it, but it's in every Mexican grocery store. They've got, it's pozole. It's called pozole,
Yeah.
too, chicken pozole. But they've got the one that's just white and it had the tripe in it, and that was very skin-like. Well, it's intestines, I think.
Intestines and skin probably have the same consistency.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you were eating human, you don't, the skin might not be the tastiest part.
It is
From a
with
leg
chicken.
or something? Oh, that's true, with chicken it is.
Especially with lemon and pepper on it.
Yeah.
With chicken. I was around a lot of geese today.
Oh, what were you doing
Yeah,
around
I was-
geese?
Well, I couldn't stand. This guy was playing some really repetitive, irritating reggae music. I don't think it was Bob Marley, so I couldn't take it anyway. I let him pound out for a while, so I went down to the park and I just hung out with the geese. And they started hanging around me, especially once these two bum guys left, because they bark. I don't know. They're just unpleasant. They left, and then more geese came around. And pretty soon I was just surrounded by geese today. One or two of them were hungry, and they were barking at me, and they wouldn't let up. They just stood there, and it's kind of trippy because they're reptiles, and we're mammals. So at a certain level, it's kind
Geese
of
are birds.
well, birds are reptiles.
No. Birds are birds. There's birds
I
and
wanna split
reptiles and fish and... Well, no, birds and reptiles don't have hair. So,
Anyway, I thought they were related to the dinosaurs. They're all reptiles.
oh yeah, well
Birds,
dinosaurs
lizards.
are hybrid
Okay.
bird lizards.
Okay. I'd
Yeah.
have to refresh myself, on the exact distinctions there.
Well, they're all related.
Yeah.
We're all creatures of the earth.
Of course, yeah. And they have bones that are kind of like our bones, really.
Yeah.
The geese.
Well, bird bones are hollow.
Yeah.
That's how they're able to fly. They're lighter.
Right. Yeah. They have to hustle around the park. I noticed a lot too, because like they have to go from one feeding. They just hang around, and if some gang is over here, if someone starts feeding, they'll just all of a sudden jump, fly over there. That's what they do all day. Is they just fly around and just wait for someone to feed, and then they have to jump over there. And it's kind of like they just have to hustle, like, you know, everybody around there, like the ice cream guy. It's kind of social. It kind of reflects the social setup, I think, in a way.
I totally, yeah, the birds do, because they don't have hands. You can see in the eye of the birds that they wish they could just pick up something, that they could like see, like, oh, should I eat this?
Yeah.
Maybe not. But they have to just go in mouth first. You can see it in their eyes, that it's like, but they have to hustle.
Yeah.
A squirrel has hands. A squirrel can eat whatever it wants. A rat. Rats have hands.
Yeah. Yeah. The mice.
Yeah.
They're pretty, you know.
It's at the top. Poor birds, they have to hustle. But they have,
Yeah.
they can fly.
Yeah. Well,
Everyone
the
envies
geese
them.
can't really fly that well. They always complain. They squawk, you know, when they take off. They always make that squawking noise, like crows. They got those big bodies. You know, it costs them a lot to fly.
Yeah.
They like hanging out. They like just walking around. You know, they don't like to have to get up and fly.
But they gotta hustle. There's not a lot of breadcrumbs at the
No.
park.
No. You got to be on it. You know, if someone's feeding over there, you know, you got to. So, but yeah, it's kind of that was one reflection I had in the park today by the river. That was peaceful, nice. And then they were kind of mobbing me. They were all around me. It was really weird. But and then just hanging out. So yeah, but that's another thing. What else have I been doing? I did a little acting, you know, in a feature about you were talking about places that I performed.
Yeah.
And this was a short film that just tried to it kind of captured the scene at the time of the comedians and the other acts, and basically personalities that were just using each other as they could for their own purpose. There was no loyalty or any kind of real community or any ethos that kept them together. It was just really cutthroat. So it ended up as a standoff at the end for, you know, there was money, there was drug money involved, and then there was a hold up, and anyway. But so I thought it reflected the actual obvious. It's obvious, you know. I mean, there's some community among you can find in a bar and a tavern sometimes, but when it's there, if sometimes other acts can happen or gain ascendancy because I don't know, they're part of an entourage that is from another state, and they're coming in, and there's, you know, so, and anyway, it was, I thought it reflected I was asked to play myself, let me just get off by saying that. And so that was interesting, and I thought I could bring something to the table doing that. And
You thought you could play yourself?
yeah.
How did it go?
Well, I mean, you could tell that, I think you could tell that the film was a lot of first time acting going on, to be fair.
That's
It
kind
was
of
pretty
charming in a way,
obvious.
though.
Yeah, and I mean,
Got some charm to it.
yeah, I think it had a certain raw appeal because of that. But what else? I don't. They were the real. I mean, it wasn't really actors; it was the real characters, and I felt the real characters were unique. I didn't see for real anybody else doing what we were doing in that part of town. That distinct, you know, spot of Little Tokyo and Skid Row. So for a while there, I thought we had a kind of unique thing going on with it, like people doing their own aspirations, and a couple comedians that were really from out of left field, but funny, and just manic and crazy. And I felt at the time of making that I don't know, it just seemed like things were kind of removed from the normal course of business of anybody's regular existence as a person in Los Angeles, the lives that we led, that, you know, maybe something magic or big could happen, you know. I mean, so I thought this film maybe had that energy of possibility behind it in some of the characters. It was a lot of fun making it, you know. I mean, shooting it, had to be really tight, and at the time it was just we weren't given a lot of times to do it, so we had to bring something to the table in the moments that we had to perform there. And so, but what else? I can't really say anything in particular. I guess that's it. Actually, I heard it.
Would you do more acting? Do you think now you could? You could do
yeah,
a character.
I would like to do more acting because it's something that is. I mean, I feel like in day-to-day life, there's so many factors that throw you into isolation, either out of habit or big confinement, like, you know, being in on a freeway, and it's just kind of becomes habitual, and a lot of times there's a lot of it really is to express yourself. You got to be careful because someone will get offended, someone doesn't like the way you sound. You're always surrounded by people, and you can never really be. It's not. You don't have a lot of opportunities to really, you know, like you said, talk to someone one-on-one, or say something that you agree on that's meaningful, or that makes time go a little bit slower because you've got less distractions going on.
Yeah, because you want to express yourself, but you also want to please people. It's kind of this compromise. You know, the way you express yourself also has to be pleasing to an audience, or, you know, in some sort of palatable way.
Right.
They want us to talk more softly.
Oh.
Too. Yeah, but with acting, you can kind of do that. Be yourself and be someone else. Oh, I gotta say, your hair is amazing.
Oh, thanks.
It's so, because I don't have any hair, you know?
Yeah.
So it's so long and shiny.
Yeah.
This is your natural hair? It's always been like this?
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad it's making that kind of impression, and that's tremendous. I hope it would be under these lights. I mean, it's like.
It looks really good.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks.
That's you know, you talk about having like an innate talent, or an innate gift or ability.
Yeah.
Good hair is something you're really born with.
Right.
Like, you could dress it up or whatever, but.
Right. Right, I could, yeah, but
looking at, like,
lately I usually just keep it, you know, pretty washed. And
did you condition it and stuff, though? Did you take care of it?
Yeah, well, that's where, like, nostalgia comes in. I guess I use the Alberto VO5. It's 99 cents, and I used to always get it when I lived, you know, my grandma by the beach, and, like, they always had it at the 5 and dime store. And that's some part of Americana to me, is the Alberto VO5. So, and it's just as good as the rest in that price category. So I just at the grocery store, that's all they really give you, you know. So I just stick with that. It's adequate, I think, you know, as long as. And then I had this Moroccan oil that my friend, yeah, he braided it for a while. That was great, but, you know, I can't rely on him to do that every night. Yeah, but the Moroccan oil's great.
Did you get it styled or anything?
No.
Did you think about your hair? I've seen you like touch it a lot and stuff. Like I would do it too if I had like long, nice hair.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
saying, do you appreciate?
Yeah,
this
I just
good
try to
head
make
of
sure that I don't
hair you
have split ends, because that's all. It just doesn't look good. It's like a fox, But if I and it looks neat if I don't have split ends. Yeah.
Do you brush it?
Yeah, I do on regular. Especially right when I get out of the shower.
Maintenance.
Just, you
Yeah.
gotta get
So you kind of know what you're working with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not totally neglecting my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I do. It takes a certain level of maintenance that I think I'm keeping up on. Primarily in the morning. Sometimes I'll come back. It's a little messy. I might give it an afternoon or a late afternoon brush through. Kind of in the dusky part of the day. It's kind of relaxing with the leaves, whatever, in the backyard.
Seems nice. Just like a calming.
Yeah, it's
about 10 minutes it takes to brush it. Would you say?
Sure. Yeah. If you're going,
I don't know
if you're
anything
going
about
slow
hair.
and you're doing things in between brushing, taking your time, it could take 10 minutes. That's nice. Yeah. To have the time to unwind like that. It's kind of like cooking. Yeah.
So Elk, what do you
else is
got?
happening?
Yeah, what else is happening?
Yeah.
You got, we see your drone box. I see you around the Lexington.
And now,
Real dreary place. I love it. I love how dreary it is there. Wouldn't you say
Yeah, I
it's
know what you mean.
dreary?
yeah. It's kind of bleak.
Yeah, great.
bleak.
Yeah, a little bleak, a little dreary. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
But what do you got going? What's in the Elk pipeline?
Oh, well, I've got this short film that I acted in about, whatever. It came out, and I think it got picked up it's got a showcase somewhere in Phoenix or something like that, and then a couple festivals out here, which the producer's coming back, so he's going to tell me. I guess he's going to be back in LA a while, but
You'll be
maybe
making some appearances?
some things that who knows, or maybe I'll get into his next film. But that's really, at this point, I was excited to hear that it got into one of the festivals. That's good. That means at least it'll get on like an IMDb, and I don't know, maybe it'll make another step from there.
Yeah.
So, but I was also working on a video about a song about living in Boyle Heights. It had to do with the perspective of being a white person and feeling indigenous, because I was born here and felt like, wait a minute, I felt like I had my skin in the game as much as anybody. I was like, so like I said, it's not the most positive, the issue isn't. Anyway, but I've been working on a video. It might be coming out of that. We shot half of it with a really good camera on top of Mount Washington and some other scenes. And besides that, I don't know, a GoFundMe site to maybe make a couple better recordings. Yeah, but mostly just live performances right now. I'll just come back to that because that's, I still play the Lexington, sometimes like Monday nights or some night that's not, kind of an off night. That's the nights I like. Not too many people around, or just a couple people And, well, I don't know, I'm really trying to wring out, some juice this itinerary that I don't have.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Well, I don't know. There's places I can go. I've gone to Canner's. Canner's is kind of fun. It's kind of a long way out there, but that's always a good crowd. I've gone to Silver Lake Lounge, on the thing that they have out there on Sunday, and that's always a really positive vibe for musicians and comedians.
Oh boy. Talk about positive vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like
Uh,
really good trichomes on that one.
Yeah.
Really gooey.
Far out.
Wow.
Wow. Elk, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
And
Yeah,
they need
yeah,
some
it
help.
was fun, man.
Do the handshake.
Nice.
Yeah. Great.
All
Great
right.
hair. The music is good too, but the hair.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. They're both great.
Thanks.
Check out Elk is around. Check out Elk. Until next time, though, this is Adam Papagan. Writing it, there's a place you can go, and it's your mind.